Welcome to our region. The southwest of WA is a haven for wildflowers and a world hotspot for biodiversity. It's a paradise worth protecting. And apart from its sheer beauty, it brings economic benefits to our region from tourism, forestry and local commercial enterprises.
Just look at this stunning landscape. So many unique plants and wildlife found nowhere else in the world. But a soil-borne menace called Phytophthora or Dieback is literally devastating the native vegetation of the southwest of Western Australia. Now we think dieback was introduced into this state in around the 1920s. There was trees dying up in Carragul and up in the Perth Hills, and now it's spread over 1 million hectares all the way from Esperance right up to Eneabba. And it's literally infiltrated some of our prime bushlands, and so it's creating unhealthy environments that's having a huge impact on our wildlife. Now, Phytophthora dieback has been recognised as a key threatening process, and if we don't intervene now, it'll continue causing the devastation to biodiversity as it affects 40% of the plant species here in the southwest of WA. Plants like these are essential for wildlife, not just as a habitat but also as a food. For example, the honey possum, it's Tarsippus rostratus. It's a small little possum about this big, and it lives exclusively off pollen and nectar. And so when you have a reduction of biodiversity, especially the species that it needs in that season, that's the only time it's in flower, we not just only lose the plant, you lose the species that are reliant on it as well. Humans are the greatest vector for the spread of Phytophthora by moving soil and plant material that contains the microscopic spores to new sites. And it's not just our bushlands that are affected. Commercial fruits such as avocados and nuts like macadamias can also be susceptible, especially in warm, damp conditions when the pathogen travels fast. Now this map shows areas where dieback has been found across the southwest and identifies priority protection areas or PPAs that are either infested or not infested with dieback. It is a complex issue, but we have a new management approach that can be applied at a landscape scale to provide local solutions. The State Dieback Management and Investment Framework is a proven strategy that provides a comprehensive process to manage areas threatened by dieback. It helps identify your highest value assets and gives recommendations on how to manage them. The framework is a simple process and it can be broken down into 3 parts.
3 key processes are implemented in the State Dieback Management and Investment Framework. They are identify, prioritise and manage. The first steps in the process are to identify the most environmentally important areas and to score or rank them to identify the highest value biodiversity hotspots and landscapes. These are our priority protection areas. Identification of dieback areas firstly takes place via a desktop study using local expert knowledge, including existing information on our online database. We then analyse all available data, such as aerial photographs, existing roads, buildings and the like, to see the lay of the land and potential areas at risk from infestation. This is followed by an on-ground assessment to verify things firsthand, to see what's going on. We then prioritise which areas contain our most valued assets needing protection and concentrate on them. For bushland, the highest value asset might be an area containing rare flora susceptible to dieback, or it could be a special habitat for a vulnerable or endangered species that are completely dependent on that area being kept dieback free for their survival. Once we have prioritised our areas, we progress towards management. Here we review the threats and risks to investment and take steps in setting various targets and strategies to manage the threat. Some measures include controlling access to dieback sites, installation of signage, and establishing hygiene infrastructure. This is followed by ongoing monitoring and assessment of PPAs to ensure we restrict the spread of the disease. The framework is also applicable to industry, as it offers a comprehensive and cost-effective way of prioritising actions in a busy commercial operation. It's a multi-tiered approach that includes practical training and actions, with easy-to-use planning checklists and templates, covering areas such as biosecurity and hygiene practices when moving soil material, vehicles and machinery. For example, the framework can be applied in forestry, where commercial priorities around the highest value plantations are paramount, and when there is a desire to protect high conservation value bushland within forestry properties. Local and state government authorities will have an approach they use to manage human activities to limit the spread of dieback. This might include recreational activities such as off-road vehicles, hiking and horse riding. The framework applies not just to dieback, but to a suite of other scenarios, including the control of weeds, pests and diseases applicable to a range of agricultural industries to help safeguard their livelihoods and land.
So to recap, the value of the framework is to identify, prioritise and manage your highest valued assets. It also provides practical management techniques that can be applied to these areas to keep them healthy. Dieback is one of the biggest threats to WA's unique ecosystems and other values that are important to us. We must take responsibility for the lands that we manage, and with careful planning and working together, we can control Phytophthora dieback and perpetuate biodiversity for future generations.